Hello Tubesters, it's Gav and welcome to another one of my videos. Today's video is just a quick show and tell of some Napoleonic Nassau troops that I'm painting up at the moment. They're following on from the Württembergers in the sense they're 28mm front rank figures, and I'm painting them to sell on either privately or eBay, depending on what clients I've got for them. I'm just going to give you a quick show and tell, a brief overview. There were three parts to the Nassau dynasty. One was more or less Nassau Orange. I'm looking at my notes here. The other one was Nassau Usingen and Nassau Wilburg. I think I pronounced that right. Probably getting all this completely arse about face, but never mind. Forgive my French. The Orange Nassaus followed Prussia, and so the Allies to a degree, and they paid for it obviously in being absorbed once Napoleon had overtaken those lands. The other two, although lukewarm for Napoleon, it was the lesser of two evils. They had to either be part of the German states that supported Napoleon, or be absorbed into France. So they put together 4 battalions into a single regiment of foot. They also had a couple of companies of light cavalry, and each infantry battalion, it was constructed on the Austrian model of the time, and so they had a couple of light guns that you'd normally stick on the wings of the battalion. They would be 3-pounders. Now, according to Rawkins in front of me, there is some discussion whether the guns ever went actually out of the garrison, into the field. He reckons they might well have been just left behind. The Nassaus were sent to Spain, and they had quite a distinguished record. The headsheds in command of the Nassau principalities might have been lukewarm to Napoleon, but the soldiers that they sent actually fought really well, and that went right through the war in Spain, at least, until the Germanic states in general were getting fed up of the way Napoleon was lording it over them, how they were being treated, however you want to see it really. And as you probably know, obviously there was a myriad of different German states made up the Rhinebund and that served, and larger German states that served under Napoleon, and they were all a lot of them were getting disaffected, and this reached as far as the troops in Spain, although they were still fighting well. And the French disarmed the 2 companies of light cavalry and interned them, then disarmed and interned the 1st battalion, I believe, of foot, and the 2nd battalion got wind of this and had instructions from headquarters in Nassau to actually defect to the British, which they did. And it shows that the respect probably that the British felt for them, that they actually repatriated them to Nassau with full military honours, because by then the French were out of that part, I believe, so couldn't obviously bring any retribution to bear. And actually they marched back into Nassau with colours flying and bayonets fixed type of thing. We didn't disarm them and put them in prison hulks. So you'll often find a lot of people paint Nassaus because they have got a really good fighting record. They've got a very nice green uniform. The way I'm painting it, because you know what people are with uniforms, I'm not treating it as like a really dark green, so something like the British 95th Rifles, but at the same time I'm not painting it really light, so it's a bit of a mid-green, and we'll have a look at it now, and we'll have a quick talk about the uniform. So thanks for listening to that blurb. I've probably got it all completely wrong, but take of it what you will. Maybe have a look at Nassau troops yourself and the history of the Nassau regiment, and find out things for yourself. So we'll go down to the workbench and we'll have a quick squeeze at these. See you in a bit. Right, Tubesters, thanks for joining me at the bench. I'm not going to say this is going to be quick because I'll be lying to you, but let's have a look at these. So, as I said, these are 28mm front rank miniatures and quite chunky figures. They're in the advancing pose. All the ones I've painted so far are always been in like march attack, you know, some type of marching pose. But I just fancy doing something slightly different. I will get round to doing a firing line eventually, but it sounds a bit mercenary. But to be frank, firing lines don't sell as well as marching figures and advancing figures. So that's why you haven't seen any firing poses off me yet. But I will do some, because I'd like to put some casualties in amongst them, make them look, you know, a bit more special. So the green that you see here, that is these are all Valleos, and it's a black green with a bit of black extra mixed in with it to give it a darker look. So that's your base coat. And then I've used Luftwaffe green on top of that, and then olive green on top of that. Again, quite as you know, as I would say, quite a weak paint mix, not too strong. I don't want to go any higher on the highlights, because the problem with something like green and blue, you can over highlight it and completely change the colour of the uniform that you want to paint. So in my case, I'd prefer to see the Nassaus in this type of colour, not too bright and not too dark. So, you know, you have to draw a line sometimes. You'll notice they've got the yellow piping. There is some discussion again whether they actually had orange piping. Again, you know, read up, decide yourselves what you think. I've gone with the yellow. I can see faded orange looking like faded yellow, so I'm going with the yellow. So again, slings and all the straps are like a buff. Now for my buff on these, I've used German camo orange, I believe it's called. And what else have I used? I've used a few samples, to be honest with you, just to decide. I think I've used one of the desert yellow, I think it's called, and then a buff, an actual Vallejo buff on top. I've done my usual non-metallic work on the musket itself, and the same with any bit of brass work that's showing. The sabre straps were white for these guys. So I think that's about it. The flesh is I've used brown sand, Vallejo again. What else have I used? Medium flesh tone, flat flesh tone, sunny flesh tone, and then sunny flesh tone with a bit of white in, and then just a mixture of hair colours. So that's this guy. Now they have slightly different colours, you know, like the French have the different pom-pom colours. So these aren't actually light infantry or voltigeurs or anything just because they've got the yellow. That's actually just a company facing. One thing I've always said about the front rank, again, if you're nervous about painting the chevrons on the drummers and sergeant stripes, all that type of thing, the sculptor usually puts them in, including this piping at the trouser leg there. That's all actually raised. And talking about the actual trousers themselves, although these are roughly in campaign look, I could have also put, if you were using them in Spain, you could obviously put all those brown textured cloth that nearly everybody was wearing in Spain, including the British. Or you can use them with grey. They supplied them with grey overalls. Now the only problem is, because the piping is moulded on, you could say that, well, they've saved the piping off, it would be expensive, and they've put it on the grey overalls. Or you could get your files out and just gently file the seam line down there. But again, these are for sale, to be honest with you, and there's only so much time I can spend on them. So they're all having the green trousers, so they're all going to be green throughout. You can't probably see there very well, but you've got obviously the wolf's teeth, blue and yellow in this case. Again, face, you can see the face a bit better there. I have put the eyes in, you can't really see them under the peak. So that's that guy, that's your drummer. The officer here, I just need to give him, I'm just going to highlight this this sash up just a bit more. Again, the all the bright work, as I call it, the brass work is all non-metallic. You can't go wrong with non-metallic if you put a few little white dots everywhere just to make it shine. You can usually get away with it then. They've got no badges that I know of on the turnbacks, so that's quite good. Again, now you can put if you want to mix them up, you can put brown trousers and grey trousers on them. This guy's got the bandage. Now I haven't put any blood on this bandage, I just wanted to leave it clean. So as far as I'm concerned, he's had the bloody one taken off him, he's had a fresh bandage put on. Again, everything's in buff, you know, all the straps are all buff. The guys behind, to be honest with you, are only just coming together now. I've got to put another highlight on the yellow. Normally takes, I use the same German camo orange. Let me just actually get it if I can reach it without knocking everything down, so I can give you the proper thing. Again, I do these videos off the cuff, I do apologise. German camo orange ochre, sorry, so it's German camo orange ochre. And I use that as the base for the straps when I'm doing buff. But also it's great because you can save time, because I use it as also the base for the yellow. If you use something like that, it doesn't have to be that colour, but you know, some type of deserty brown colour, something that the yellow, you know, you won't have it showing through so quickly. So I usually put 2 coats of yellow on and a base of this orange camo ochre. So as you can see, there's a bit of primer still to be done on here, but it gives you the idea. So not a load of poses. They haven't got round yet to doing the, as I said to you guys before, you can get these reinforcement packs to give them, you know, extra poses in your battalions, but they haven't got round to the Nassaus yet. So you're stuck with fairly, you know, the same poses. But I've always said I love this range of figures so much, it doesn't bother me in the slightest, to be honest with you. They're bag full of characters in themselves. So thank you very much, guys, for stopping by. I'm sorry I'm rambling, but I did want to show these before they get much farther. Just a quick just to let you know what's happening with the Württembergers. They are all done, they're all varnished. I just ran into the problem that I'd run out of bases. I've never on, you know, I never run everything smoothly. There's always got to be ups and downs. So unfortunately, they're going to be sitting there now until my bases come. But the Württembergers are ready just to be based. But obviously, I've got no bases. So it's on with the Nassaus. I've also done part of the Saxon Commission. I've completed another infantry battalion, and they're going for varnishing later on today. And obviously then going on the basing process themselves. And I'm starting on the skirmishers. I've got 3 units of skirmishers to do, 8 apiece I believe, and I'm halfway through the first unit skirmishers, so that's going quite well. So thank you very much for stopping by and taking a look. As I say, I do apologise for rambling yet again. I hope everything's going well with you and you do have your bases topped up. If not, before you start your next project, maybe thinking about checking in your cupboards. It might stop a backlog of Napoleonics building up on you. So take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you again on another video. Cheers.